Okay, so I'm just testing out some stream setting stuff right now. Trying to see if I can even see my own stream. Right? I should be I should be live right now, but let me see if I can find it my own on my own phone. This stuff is yeah, it's a little tricky, you know? It's a little tricky. Still getting the I'm still getting the hang of it, but it's starting to make some sense. And it looks like my audio is coming through, which is good. You know, I actually thought the mic would be a lot better. I'm trying it out right now with the mic. Or sorry, I'm trying out with the onboard mic on my PC, and I thought that would be a lot worse. I have the stream set to ultra low latency right now, which doesn't seem to have any big impact uh on how the thing performs, right? On how my computer's performing. But it is like it's still like a couple seconds behind where my actual speech is at, which is fine. Which is fine. It doesn't have to be like real time. So yeah, I think this is actually good enough to gamble. Let's see what we can do. Uh, okay, so for starters, I'm gonna be checking out this little article right here. This is my subject of interest this morning. I am doing a little bit of research on this whole Peter Thiel. Um, okay, so a little bit of background. We've all been hearing about the Greenland shit recently. Is very strange. It's very strange. Why is the president of the US so interested in acquiring Greenland? Why has he talked about it so many times? Well, there's a couple of little details that are connected to this story that I think are very relevant. Okay, and I think that there's a lot of stuff you know, we give these guys a lot of grief because they're very stupid, okay? And they tend not to be very good at concealing their activities. We just saw the whole Signal chat thing blow up in everyone's faces. So we're all thinking these guys aren't that deep. They're not that clever, right? And they're not particularly deep or clever, but there is still stuff that's happening off to the side, stuff that people aren't paying as much attention to, and that I think it would actually be valuable to pay a little bit more attention to, right? Because there's some real lunatics in California specifically, and just in the tech world. And this is something that I'm trying to make a little bit of a theme, and it's also something that's good to sort of test out my streaming setup a little bit and start digging into this stuff. Okay, so. I have this article here from Inside Hook. I don't know too much about Inside Hook. I'll do a little bit of checking on them in a second just to make sure that they're not something super wild. Um, but Inside Hook, and there's a couple more of these. I think there's a Gizmodo. Yeah, there's a Gizmodo article I'll take a look at in a second as well. Gizmodo is a little bit more mainstream in the tech journalism world, my understanding. I'm sure they got some dirt on them too, but you know, at the very least, I haven't heard of them like straight up making shit up. They don't seem to be some kind of conspiracy website. So, you know, Gizmodo's also talking about this. We have this Inside Hook thing that's talking about this. There's going to be some other, you know, yeah. We're gonna go into the Wikipedia on this. TechCrunch, that seems like another good spot. Looks like looks like Gizmodo might have touched on this multiple times, so we'll take a check at that on that as well. Politico, spiritual case for Greenland. I'm curious what Politico's saying about this. Okay, so what am I doing here? Right now, I'm trying to just sort of build up a sense for y'all of what some of the inside scoop on some of the background on the Greenland saga is. Because, as I said, it's interesting, it's relevant, there's a lot going on here, and you might want to buckle up if you haven't dug into too much of these fools in the past, because there's some wacky shit. There's some wacky shit, okay? And we're gonna have to probably do some more thorough breakdowns of some of the specifically really wacky stuff that's happening around this whole thing. All right, so I'm going to start off with the Gizmodo one because this one's a little short, and this is what I had pulled up earlier. Right? So we all know that Trump is into this Greenland idea. Just giving us a little bit of background. Nobody knows what to think of the president-elect's proposal. This one is from January 10th. So this is going back a little bit, all right? But understand, even going back here, going back this far, this idea's been floating around for a while. Even as far back as January 10, Gizmodo is connecting this idea in Trump's universe to some of what his association with Peter Thiel's been. Okay? How are they making this connection? Well, let's just take a look at the article for a bit. All right. Um, I went to Greenland to buy it, Dryden Brown tweeted in November. Dryden Brown 28. We're gonna have to look up Dryden Brown. I'm not sure if this is the guy, but I know that Trump just appointed a Peter Thiel guy to be Greenland, his Greenland ambassador. So it looks like Dryden Brown is in this Praxis world, right? And this is probably in the article. I'm not reading the article like line for line right now, just because I'm also doing this, so it's a little hard to kind of jump back and forth. Um, but just sort of like looking over the tops of these articles, let's see. CEO of Praxis, right? Of course, next line, which is part of a broader movement known as the network state. The network state is something else that I've come across before. We're gonna have to do a whole separate breakdown of the concept of the network state because this is a very important piece of not just the Greenland story and not even really just Trump, but kind of how these types of people are thinking nowadays and it's going to be important and valuable for y'all to kind of get a sense of who these people are and why they think the way that they do. Um, so network state, put a pin in that. We're coming back to that in a bit, but for now, let's continue on here. Um, So here we're talking about Dryden Brown recent more. I recently wrote about the network staters. Okay, so we'll take a look at this Gizmodo link who say they want to create a host of privately funded crypto-friendly countries all around the world. Okay, I'm not sure this is the best way to describe the network state, but I do appreciate that this article is giving you kind of a broad background relatively quickly on what some of the basics of this situation are. We're not quite at Greenland yet, but we're gonna get to Greenland. All right. So he went to Greenland to buy it. Dryden Brown tweeted in November. This guy's younger than me. This trips me the fuck up, dog. This motherfucker is 28 at the time of the writing of this article. This came out earlier this year. Damn, dude. I thought I got into some wild shit when I was an undergrad. You know what I mean? These cats are wilding. He's going to Greenland to try to buy it for his network state project. Like just okay. Think about that for just a little second. Okay, you are going to a foreign country, Greenland. Okay, it's a protectorate of Denmark or a territory of Denmark or something. You're going to a foreign country, a European country, one of the allies of the US, to try to buy it. You're a weird guy. Okay, you're already a weird guy. Dryden Brown, and I've never even really dug into Dryden Brown. I'm gonna have to learn some more about Dryden. We're gonna learn some more about Dryden Brown. Okay, we'll come back to this motherfucker. Um, so here's so Here it says he recently wrote about the network staters who say they want to create a host of privately funded crypto-friendly countries all around the world. Okay, so what does this sentence mean here? Specifically, privately funded crypto-friendly countries. This is a big idea, and there's a lot that gets wrapped up into this, okay? From what I've heard and seen in the past on this concept, and we're going to dig some more into network states. I don't think the word country really applies because what they're talking about here is very different from a country as y'all would typically understand what the fuck a country is. Okay? What's more important here is the privately funded. And I don't even think crypto friendly is the right way to say it. We're not just talking about like some country that takes in a lot of investment from big companies and has like some cool like crypto tax rebate program or something like that to try to attract cryptocurrency. No, 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 no. We're talking about something a lot more radical than that. Okay, these countries, when it says they are privately funded, my understanding is that these countries don't take in taxes. They are funded exclusively by private companies. Okay? In other words, we're talking about companies or governments of some kind, or countries, whatever the fuck, governments of some kind. They have territory, they have land, they have military power, they have all that shit. Okay? But it's all funded by hedge funds. It's all funded by private companies. Okay, it's a very different kind of and when we say crypto friendly, we're not just talking about like, oh yeah, they use no, no, no. They are run on crypto. Okay, at least I'm pretty sure that's what this network state concept is getting into or leads us towards. And we're going to get a little deeper into the idea of a network state in a bit, but just like kind of keep this at the back of your mind, there's a theory of how to run a society that people like Dryden Brown and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk have been cooking up for years now. And this theory of how to run society is absolutely alien to anything that exists on Earth today. Certainly alien to democracy. Okay, this is not the kind of society that you've ever lived in or experienced or even really read about in a history book. Okay, there's a lot of questions about whether or not this is even viable. Okay, so again, and we'll come back to the network state idea, all right? Because I think it'll help you understand how wild it is that Trump is so interested in Greenland and why these people are so interested in Greenland and Canada and sort of broadly land acquisition and conquest in general, right? Like there's some concepts of very radically different ways to organize society that are in the basement of these ideas, in the basement of these moves that they're making. All right. So network states, we'll get back to that. Zealots of this ideology believe they're building the future, but critics of the movement see it as little more than a bizarre neo-colonial effort to lay claim to existing countries, rewrite their legal frameworks, and extract all the wealth and resources from them. Okay, another thing that I think helps you understand this is the idea of seasteading. We're going to get into seasteading as well as part of our discussion of network states because seasteading is basically it's a failed libertarian idea for how to run society where you basically put everybody on a boat and you live on a boat. Okay? And the boat is run by a big company and like there have been some really wild things that have happened around seasteading, and we'll see if we can look some of these up to show you guys and talk to you guys about this concept a little more because again, it ties back into the network state. Okay, the reason why the sort of reason why a lot of this stuff is happening. Did I lose my? Okay, did I close that? Oh no, here we are. Okay, so part of how we've ended up here is that libertarians, for a long time in the world in general, and especially in the Western world, have been very interested in trying to create little breakaways from mainstream society where they can implement their ideas for how to run the world, right? And they have a basically kind of like Ayn Rand style way that they want to run things, or like if you played BioShock, a lot of the ideas for how the underwater city is organized in BioShock is explicitly a reference to libertarian ideas, and that's part of where they get the idea to put the city underwater, because libertarians have been really interested in the idea that you could potentially build a society in the water somewhere on an island or underwater or in like a colony of boats or something like that. And that you would find some kind of legal loophole there that would allow you to establish a new constitution and a new government without having to sort of play by the rules of the existing international order, right? And always the idea revolves around some kind of buy-in, right? It's a libertarian society. You invest in the society to some extent, or you expend some amount of money, and it gets you exclusive access to this new nation of sorts, right? Um, it's a big wild concept. It's gone in a lot of different directions. Many of these attempts, because there have been real life attempts at seasetting, many real life attempts at seasetting, they have all failed, right? And some of them have failed in some of the most lurid, hilarious, and spectacular ways you could imagine. So just for the entertainment value, we're probably going to be digging into the history of seasteading just because Trump is talking about invading Greenland now. The world is wild. The world is fucking wild. Okay, so yeah, I don't think this paragraph is doing the most justice to how wacky the idea is. But to be fair, if you're writing for Gizmodo, there's a limit to how bizarre this stuff can get. Okay, like you're trying not to scare your audience too much, and you're trying not to sound like a sci-fi author when you're just reporting on the news, right? And so like, there's an extent to which people tone some of this madness down just to make it reportable. Okay. But this is madness. This is absolute madness, okay? And we have not even gotten to Greenland yet. Okay. Brown actually did travel to Greenland later last year, or traveled to Greenland last year to talk to local officials about potentially buying the territory. He was promptly met with ridicule. Of course, he was promptly met with ridicule. We're ridiculing the motherfucker right now, okay? Like this is madness. Have some water, one sec. Yeah, no, like of course he's met with ridicule by the Danish parliament, right? Like, can you imagine you're the Danish parliament and this guy shows like, hey, I want to buy Greenland from y'all so that we can set up a libertarian paradise. Can you imagine like what the fuck that meeting was? Like let's just okay. For the record, this is Dryden Brown, okay? This motherfucker, this guy, okay? This guy. He just like pops up in your country. He's like, "Yo, can I buy Greenland? I'm starting a network state, bro." I know what this guy fucking smells like. Like it's awful. Okay, so Dryden Brown is trying to buy Greenland. It's not gonna work out. Greenlandic independence requires approval by the Danish parliament and a change of our constitution, politician Rasmus Jarlov said in a tweet. I can guarantee you that there is no way we could approve independence so that you could buy Greenland. The fact that you even have to say this, man. I'm so sorry, Rasmus Yarlov. We are not sending our best over. Like first you got to deal with fucking Amsterdam tourists and like loser stoners just like invading and now this. I'm just to the world. I am so sorry that you have to put up with our fucking nation, like the people that we let just like loose on the planet. Um, mm. Now, however, Brown is all jazzed up about Trump's proposal and seems to even be taking credit for it. Following a recent post in the Truth Social, buying Greenland, the excellent long drive has retweeted the post, commenting nearly according to plan. Okay, so Trump didn't get this idea from fucking Dryden Brown. Come on, bro. Because and I'll tell you why he didn't get that idea from Dryden Brown. He got that idea from Dryden. He didn't get it from Brown, and because Brown got it from Teal. Okay, and we're about to get into all of that. Not long afterwards, Brown tweeted, Praxis would like to support Greenland's development by coordinating talent, companies, and capital to help secure the Arctic, extract critical resources, terraform the land with advanced technology to make it more habitable, and build a mythical city in the north. Brother, reread this. Where's this motherfucker's head at? Brown tweeted, Praxis would like to support Greenland's development by coordinating talent, companies, and capital. Support Greenland's development by coordinating talent, companies, and capital to help secure the Arctic, extract critical resources, of course, terraform the land. Terraforming. We are terraforming Greenland with advanced technology to make it more habitable and build a mythical city in the north. First of all, I don't know why he's writing like this. Brother, mythical city? You're talking about a real place. There ain't gonna be no mythical cities and this is this is not fucking Avatar the Last Airbender. But you can just like see like this person thinks in fucking like Marvel comics. He thinks in Marvel comics and sci-fi novels. And it's bad because he clearly doesn't even like fucking read them very well. If you're really into sci-fi, then you would understand a little bit better some of the issues with what you're talking about, some of the complexities and ways in which this might not go according to plan. Um, but whatever, we out here. So we're doing Greenland's development. How are we going to develop Greenland? We're going to develop Greenland by flooding it with a bunch of corpos, okay? Praxis, a private company, would like to support by coordinating talent, companies, and capital. Put us in charge, guys. Praxis, we all here. We're out here. Just let us do this shit. We can turn Greenland into what? Develop Greenland into what? Into you know, a secure resource extraction point and a testing ground for a bunch of geoengineering technologies. Okay. The idea is essentially that the planet is getting less habitable, and also we would like to go to Mars, and we're not really willing to adjust the way that the global economy works. So instead, we would like to invest massively in technologies that will allow us to resculpt the landscape itself and make this frozen Arctic wasteland into a place that is more habitable. And then at some point we're getting around to building this mythical city, whatever the mythical fucking city is. Like it's funny because the city part, the actual society part, is tagged on at the end, and he literally uses the word mythical to describe it. He hasn't thought through how this society would work at all. He's not interested in the actual country part of any of this, the city part. No, no, no. He is freaking creaming his pants talking about getting a bunch of corpos in here to terraform Greenland as a test site for his future hope, which is to terraform Mars. Because that's what all these people are fucking obsessed with. They're just trying to get to like terraforming Mars and asteroids and the moon and all that as soon as possible so they can have their little fiefdoms in the sky. It's it's weird stuff, man. And this is not even the beginning of the weirdness. This guy is trying to do it IRL. Again, think of the kind of person you have to be, the kind of head state you're in, and the kind of place that you like you walked into a foreign country. You're some 28-year-old startup bro from where the fuck ever, probably Silicon Valley. You land in Denmark and you walk into the fucking capital of this ancient nation and you're like, hey, yo, can I just buy Greenland so I can terraform it real quick? This is some wild stuff, man. Okay. Um, what else we got going on here? A key figure in the success of both network states movement and Donald Trump has been the shadowy tech billionaire Peter Thiel. Pronomus Capital, the venture capital firm that has been responsible for financing much of the movement's special projects, including Praxis, this motherfucker got his fucking money from Peter Thiel. He might even gotten fucking flown out to Denmark by Peter Thiel. Okay, this fucking I want to buy Greenland moment from last year, very likely on Peter Thiel's dime. This guy doesn't strike me as somebody who's earned a lot of his own money. Yeah, like he is almost certainly just getting fucking flown around the planet at the behest of Peter motherfucking Thiel. Okay. Um, a number of Thiel associates are also deeply intertwined with the movement, including Joe Lonsdale. Don't know about him. Oh, co-founder of Palantir. Interesting. These are the freaking master spy guys, okay? Like private spy guys, right? And Michael Gibson, the former vice president of grants at the Thiel Foundation, who currently serves as an advisor at Pronomus. Teal is a big money guy. That's kind of like why Teal is anything. He just like he knows people, he has money, he slangs money around, and then he was also got a bunch of like his goofy, weirdo, libertarian, far right, anti-democracy theories that he's also been slanging since the fucking 90s. So like that's all Teal is. He's just money and fascism. Like he's never been anything other than money and fascism. All right, and now Thiel has also been a notable benefactor to Trump's political career, having helped bankroll his 2016 campaign. Even more weirdly, it appears that Trump has named a Thiel associate, Ken Howry, as ambassador to Denmark. Ken Howry is going to be an important figure as well. Let's see what Ken Howry's all about. Oh my God, why do they all look like this, man? Why are they all like this? Jesus Christ, the fucking sunken eyes. I think they're all taking the same drugs together, dude. It's weird ass shit. American entrepreneur and diplomat. That word entrepreneur, I feel like does a lot of freaking legwork these days. The co-founder of PayPal. So this guy's been with Teal since the old days. This guy's been with Teal since the old days. He's one of the OGs. He's one of Teal's day ones. He served as a U.S. ambassador to Sweden. Oh, so he was already a Trump ambassador. Good for him. I think I'd heard that before. Yeah, that he was like already doing some Trump stuff. Um, born in 75 in Texas, went to Stanford, economics, of course. Didn't do any kind of real scholarly shit, just like, yo, give me the money. Probably didn't even have he only did like undergrad in economics, huh? He was managing editor of the Stanford Review. Ah, that's right. I forgot. So Peter Thiel did start his own like college newspaper and he branded it in a way to make it sound like it's an official Stanford newspaper. And then he just like they were publishing all kinds of like wild libertarian far right shit in there for years. Um, the year he graduated, he went on to go found PayPal with Thiel. So this guy's a deep ender, huh? He's been with Thiel. Thiel, Luke Nosek, Elon Musk, and Max Levchin. Yeah. Group of founders became known as the PayPal Mafia. Yeah, there's some wild stuff in here. Career, yeah, so it's just like okay, so PayPal Clarion Capital, so he's at World Economic Forum, also member of the selection committee. So he just got like a bunch of awards from the World Economic Forum. But for what? This is kind of this is like understand this career succession here, guys. Okay, understand the order of operations in this man's career. He goes from he goes from Harvard, no, Stanford, okay? He's an undergrad at Stanford. He's doing economics. The only noteworthy thing that he does as an undergrad at Stanford is co-found a student newspaper with Peter Thiel. He goes from that immediately to co-founding PayPal with Thiel and like four other guys, including Elon Musk. Like straight out of undergrad. And of course, and yeah, so he's CFO at PayPal, and then PayPal gets bought by eBay in 2002, and then he gets brought into eBay until 2003, and then he goes back over to join Thiel at Clarion Capital. So basically, he's just like a tech finance bro, co-founded, but when was that again? Okay, so like when did he actually graduate is what I'm trying to figure out. So the same year he graduated, he co-founded PayPal. So PayPal 98. So that was in 98. So in 98, Howry goes off to there's that. So okay, so from 98 to 2002, he was and so that's 4 years. So he does 4 years as CFO for PayPal, then gets scooped up by eBay because eBay scoops PayPal. Okay. In 2002, I'm presuming. And then, and then he's at PayPal for another year, or at eBay for another year. And then he goes back to Clarion Capital with Teal. So this is like a 5 year career up to this point. And he's just doing like trading stuff at Clarion Capital, I'm assuming, like high finance shit, investment shit, whatever, you know. And then 4 years later, with no noteworthy accomplishments or whatever in between, like he just did some PayPal shit and some finance bro shit at like eBay and Clarion Capital, whatever. So it's just like it's kind of like it's just like three companies that he's been at this point, and I mean one of them's PayPal, and he was there in the early days or whatever. And then the World Economic Forum swoops in 2012, named Howry a young global leader, a community of socially minded men and women selected under the age of 40 who operate as a force for good to overcome barriers that elsewhere stand in the way of progress. Wow! What kind of award is that, bro? What the fuck did you do, Ken? These guys are so easy to impress, dude. God damn it. He's also a member of the selection committee of World Pioneer. So like he's like what like 98 to 2012. That's like 14 years, right? And now he's yeah, he's like this high rolling dude at the World Economic Forum. He's getting these awards. In that time, he's done like PayPal and shit. I just it's just worth like kind of thinking about these people's backgrounds. Ken Howery is probably all we're gonna have time for today. I do think we got to go into this this fucking Dryden Brown guy at some point a little more because they're just gonna keep coming up, right? 2005. Okay, so here's like kind of in between. 2005, Howard and Teal. That's weird. I don't know why it's written like this. You should put it in chronological order. Whatever. 2005, Howard and Teal, PayPal alum, Nozick started Founders Fund, it's a venture capital firm. Okay. So he's getting into venture capital. This is why the World Economic Forum loves him, because he's doing venture capital at an early age. Good for him. Where he served as co-founder and partner, he served on the boards of QuantCast, ZocDoc. Bro, I haven't even fucking heard of these. Goddamn. ZocDoc? Find and book telemedicine appointments. Gee, okay, whatever. Venture Capital Journal named Howery one of the top 10 VCs under 36. He's lectured on entrepreneurship at Harvard Business and Stanford and has helped students at UC Berkeley and Macomb School of Business develop business models. Howery's a member of the Explorers Club, a nonprofit group for the most scientific exploration. Oh, hell. Oh, hell. Explorers Club. The guy has no science in his background whatsoever. But okay, yeah, sure. Explorers Club, advisor to Kiva Microfunds. It's just all finance shit. And then he just gets made ambassador to Sweden. Wild, man. Wild, wild. It's just like this, so yeah, this guy's just kind of like ultimate homie level. He's just Ken Howard, he's just kind of like hanging out. He's the ultimate homie for all of these guys. He's just like look at him. He's just like obviously you're a good guy. You're just one of the guys in the group. He's clearly like he's here to be part of the group and just help out the buddies and like let's all realize this vision together. He's clearly not the vision guy by himself. He's not the one coming up with the plans, but he's very competent at just going around and like executing on this crazy ass libertarian sci-fi business mogul bullshit. Um, so that's Ken Howery. He's probably going to come up a couple more times. I'm looking forward to us having some wild ass fucking statements from Ken Howery in the future or whatever. And then people like the 5 people that'll ever fucking see this video will be like, yo, that's that guy. I remember that motherfucker, yeah, 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 yeah. So, I'm just trying to do my part for the world. Okay, so that's Ken Howery. He is now the ambassador to Denmark and put him in a prime position to influence a Greenland deal. So what's going on here in recent announcements by Trump somehow? So what's going on here? We're reading the Gizmodo again. Okay. So what's going on here is the recent announcement by Trump somehow tied to Brown and his Teal-backed project, or is Praxis merely using Trump's proposal as an advertising opportunity for its own funding, for its own floundering utopia? As is ever the case with Trump, it's a little difficult to separate the truth from the bullshit. I Okay, I'm going to finish this article and then I have some thoughts on some of this. One thing's for sure, Brown's recent comments about Greenland really only reaffirm the idea that the network staters are modern day colonialists. In multiple posts, he speaks openly about the desire to exploit territory for Western gain. In one recent missive, the young entrepreneur wrote, "It's huge, but only has 50K people, rich with natural resources, uranium, gold, oil, and more, and is a critical defense asset in the Arctic." In other posts, Brown talked about using Greenland to practice terraforming so that when it comes time to build a society on Mars, America will be ready. Of course, of course, of course. Okay, great. So let's take a minute and breathe. Just over the course of this short article, we've been exposed to some high octane bullshit that you know it's easy to let this stuff just kind of wash over you, but we do need to think about this. Okay. This is there's a couple of different things going on here. All right. But I think this paragraph in particular, you got to be careful about this thought, okay, where it says, so what's going on here? Is the recent announcement by Trump somehow tied to Brown and his Teal-backed project, or is Praxis merely using Trump's proposal as an advertising opportunity for its own floundering utopia? This is very much tied together. This is very much tied together, okay? Don't for a second dismiss this stuff as some fringe crazy bullshit just because it's so exotic. Okay? Yes, Praxis is lunatic shit. All right? This idea of like a utopian libertarian society has been bullshit for a long time. Okay? It's been bullshit since Ayn Rand, if not before. All right. And yes, it is very much tied to colonialism. I think that it is smart of this author to understand that there's a through line here to how colonial projects have always thought of themselves, how they've always operated, right? And it is a floundering concept, but that doesn't mean that these things are not tied together. These two sentences are not alternatives. Is the recent announcement somehow tied to Brown and Teal? Or is it Praxis using Trump's proposal to advertise its floundering utopia? Not or, and and okay. Understand this is everything that's going on with these guys right now. None of these ideas work. Okay, the way that Trump, the way that Musk, the way that Thiel, the way that Praxis, the way that these people think about the world, Curtis Yarvin, the way these people think about the world does not work. It is all floundering bullshit, flailing around, trying to keep itself afloat as it gets dragged into the depths of reality. Okay? And they're trying to keep themselves away from those depths as much as humanly possible. And they can kind of do it to an extent because they have a lot of money. Okay? And now they have a lot of power because they run the United States. Okay? But this libertarian network state, seasteading, Randian bullshit has never worked. And it never will work. Okay? And we're going to be doing some breakdowns as to why this stuff doesn't work and why it never will work, you know. But understand, just because these people are living in an absolute fantasy world, okay, just because these people can't tell the difference between sci-fi novels and reality, doesn't mean that they're not going to try. They're very much trying right the fuck now. Okay? Like that's why Ken Howery is the ambassador to Greenland. That's why Trump did not come up with the idea of the US seizing Greenland on his own. Why Greenland specifically? Donald Trump personally has no connections, no association with Greenland. He's never been there. I doubt he could have found it on a map prior to this year. Okay? Prior to whoever, and I don't know, was it Teal? Was it Howery? Was it Brown? Was it once, was it Vance? Did they talk to one of his kids? And but like these ideas are so common amongst these kinds of folks that it's almost impossible to think that someone wouldn't have talked to Trump about Greenland at some point because this idea has been in their heads for a long ass time. Okay? They want to use Greenland as a proving ground, a testing ground for multiple things. All right? But the primary thing that they're trying to test is, can I build a society that is entirely owned, operated, and run by private companies? Can I build that kind of society? Can I make a city that is owned, run, operated by, at the behest of, and for the sake of private companies. This is what is the city in BioShock called again? What is it? BioShock City Rapture. That's the name of that fucking place. Okay. So what they're this is literally like this is Peter Thiel trying to build Rapture in Greenland. Okay. And they think that Rapture is going to be like basically it's a precursor, it's a tester for their Mars colony. All right. They want colonies on Mars, colonies on the moon that operate in this way. They want space colonies that are run by and for private companies, oligarchs. Okay. This is where we're heading. All right. This is where we're heading. This is where they're trying to take us. Okay. And ultimately, I do think that this is a big part of why we're going to be okay in the long run because these ideas don't work. Okay, these fools are fucking around with like physics that don't work. All right, and yeah, they can do a lot of damage along the way, and that's the scary part. Like these guys could do a number on Greenland, man. Like if Trump just like swoops in there. And then like these guys are able to just like start doing whatever the fuck they want up in Greenland. They can fuck some shit up. It can really fuck some shit up. Like climate wise, like it can be brutal. It can be real brutal. But they're gonna try. They're gonna try. And in the long run, what's gonna end up happening is these projects are gonna fail because you can't run a society. You can't run a society like this. And they clearly haven't even thought about how the society would work, right? Other than like let's coordinate a bunch of talent companies and capital, and we're gonna do some like military stuff. We're gonna be securing the Arctic and like building up these like secure trade routes or whatever, trying to keep China and Russia out of there, right? We're gonna be doing a bunch of mining, like they thought about that. Like let's just like dig up a bunch of shit. Um, and we're gonna be running these wacky ass terraforming experiments to see if we can like technologically force the planet to behave the way that we want it to. Um, And then yeah, at some point there's gonna be like a city. It's gonna be great. It's a shining city on a hill, mythical city. Great. We'll figure that out when we get there. And then what ends up happening is you move a bunch of people up there, and then you start having issues with the food and issues with the water, and waste isn't getting taken out and all this kind of stuff. And then people start getting grumpy because they're having to work fucking 12-hour shifts out on the fucking ice plains of Greenland to try to like extract, like 3 grams of cobalt or whatever. Or to like keep the dirty Chinese out of Greenland, and it's just gonna be ass, man. It's just gonna be a really fucking shitty place, um, a really shitty way to live, but ultimately relatively far away from like this like the Greenland chapter is funny to talk about because it's objectively it can't be as dark as what's about to happen and can't in like fucking Latin America, Panama, like when these motherfuckers start going after Panama, then oh god, it's gonna get like they're gonna be doing this shit in like much more populated places, and like slavery is gonna get involved at some point. Racism is gonna get involved. Like racism and slavery is already involved, right? We're talking about colonialism, but this is just sort of like the naked level of colonialism, right? The bare sort of like material motivations and kind of like fantasies of what the world could be, right? But you're not. This isn't like the genociding natives side of colonialism yet. So it's a little bit more fun to talk about. We will talk about some of the more like genociding natives level stuff as well. I'm sorry guys, but we got to talk about it. Um, we'll get into that later. There's but in the meantime, yeah, Greenland. Um, so let's pivot off of this for a little bit, and I think that'll kind of conclude my test stream for now. I do want to So what's coming up? We're gonna be doing a little bit of video editing type stuff, maybe on Friday. So I'll be talking to you guys about how my video editing process works. We're gonna have my sister on for a little bit to like talk through some stuff. And then yeah, hopefully at some point we'll get to do some painting as well. I did some painting on my last test stream. If you really want to see, me paint in silence and struggle with struggle with this setup, you can go check that out. I'll leave it up for a little bit, and then yeah, hopefully we can edit an interesting segment or two out of this. Um, and other than that, I'm gonna kill it here because it is almost 10 o'clock and I still have to get some breakfast going, drink another coffee, get ready for my classes today, and so um yeah, no, a lot going on. And but if you saw any of this, if you enjoyed any of this, really appreciate you. Thanks so much. And I'll catch y'all soon. Cheers.